And welcome. I'm busy with a perfect competitive firm. We saw that a perfect competition is one of four market structures. We also saw that it is a price taker, which is one of the most important things to remember from a perfect competitive firm, and also that it is a price taker, as I said. And then we saw how the three graphs look like short run in terms of profit, loss, and a normal profit. Now we're going to look at the supply side of the firm and when to start. Now, you have been introduced to one of the most important rules. That is where MR equals MC. That is your profit maximizing rule. But the second one that is very important is where your total revenue is greater or equals to your average total variable cost. Excuse me. Your total variable cost. Total variable cost. Or average revenue is greater or equals to your average variable cost. This is what we call your shutdown rule. If this occurs, you can start producing. Everything below this point, you need to shut down. So let's look at the thing. Right. So what we have here, you have again prices equals MR equals AR, a lot of them, 5 of them. So you have basically 5 individual perfect competitive firms here plotted on one graph. You have revenue and you have quantity and you have your marginal cost curve, you have your average variable curve. Now why this curve? Because we are looking at the shutdown rule where average revenue needs to be greater or equal than your average variable cost to produce. And then you have your cost curve. So I want to show you at point B, can you see that your average variable curve is on your marginal revenue average revenue curve? It's on top of that curve. That means it's equal to. That is the one part of the rule. It needs to be equal or greater than your average variable cost. Then you can produce. So currently it's equal to. So at this point you can start producing. And this is where MC is your supply curve. Now below that line is your A and also your P5. Now you can see here that your average revenue and your marginal revenue curve is below your average variable cost curve, which overrules the rule, because the rule says average revenue needs to be greater or equals to average variable cost. So this is not true. So this is where you shut down and stop producing. At point B, that is where production starts. Now, at point C, I want to put your attention to P3, and this is again where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Now, look in reference to your average cost curve. Can you see that your average cost curve is above your marginal revenue average revenue line? And in this case, we saw that if that is true, you have an economic loss. If we look at point B, P2, where marginal revenue equals marginal revenue equals average revenue, your average cost curve lies on top of your average revenue curve, which means you are making a normal profit. And lastly, you can see that your marginal revenue average revenue curve is above your average cost curve, which means at this point you make an economic profit. In the next video, we have some more graphs.